Good time of the day, dear viewers. My name is Shramir, who is a host at the Amity University podcast. With me, Mr. Laziz John. He's as well a university student. He's hosting this podcast with me. And today, our guest is
I'm Meenakshi Chadha, and I'm the Senior Director at the College Board, taking care of the entire India, South and Central Asian region.
great. Today, we'll talk about College Board and impact of College Board in Uzbekistan's educational system. So, College Board basically takes SATs and managing it throughout the entire world. What kind of biggest challenges you're facing when you're conducting the SAT?
Very good question, and I didn't expect that. But College Board, yes, we conduct the SAT suite of assessments that includes the PSAT 8, 9, 10, 11, the SATs, and we also have an advanced placement program. So the biggest challenge is that students during the COVID had become very, they started looking at shortcuts and they started going to places where the standardized assessments were not there. But SAT provides them an edge over the others. So that's the biggest challenge that we want to tell students that look, shortcuts are not necessary in life. What is required is your hard work, your consistent attitude towards success, and SATs can help you do that, because if you go through that hard work, you can get admissions, and not only admissions, but you can get scholarships too. So that's the benefit and the message that we want to provide.
That's amazing. And what is the biggest challenge that you're facing from the Central Asian, in particularly from Uzbekistan region?
We are not facing any challenge from the Central Asian or Uzbekistan region, but I think the students are facing a little challenge here. When we talk about SAT has two contents, reading, writing, and math section. So students in Central Asia and particularly Uzbekistan are doing very well in the math section, but they are struggling in the English reading and writing section. So I think that's where they should concentrate more and do a little more practice on maybe Blue Book or Khan Academy resources as well, and that can help them get through.
That's amazing hearing from the SAT conductors these kind of answers. Next question is, what's the main reason that you switched from standard SAT from papers to the digital SATs?
So this is a general evolution from paper to digital, and this was going on for almost 10, 12 years that the SAT team or the College Board team was working on the digital aspect, but COVID made it a little faster. And we realized that, yes, now it's the time that we should come out in the market with the digital version. But the digital version is also helpful because it's adaptive. So what happens is that students can go back and forth in the app itself. So they can go from question 1 to question 10 or 10 to 1 backwards and see their response as well. In paper format, they can do it, but then, erasing it or cancelling it becomes a little tedious. Second, with the digital format, it was shorter. So earlier, SATs were longer. Now it's only a 2 hours test. Calculators can be used in the entire math section. So we were trying to see what all benefits can we give to the student, and that's where the digital format came into the picture.
Great.
And the best thing about digital is it's linear format, so students cannot cheat. So every student gets a different question paper on the screen. There's no cheating possible.
Disadvantages of using online format over the paper?
So it's not online, it's digital. There's a difference between online and digital. I don't think there is any disadvantage. It's a mutual win-win situation for everyone. We don't have to ship test papers. The school doesn't need to collect test papers. We don't have to ship the test papers back. It's only digital. The only challenge initially was that if the students or the test centers would accept the network, the internet connectivity has to be there. Students have to take their laptops and go to the test center. But I think it's been now 2 years and everything is going seamlessly.
All over the places in Central Asia, the SAT is becoming more popular every year, and there are a lot of exam centers are opening. How do you check the integrities? I mean, this kind of after evaluating the results and the integrity, the truth of your SAT. How you just check how you managing it?
Great questions, I must say. So how do we check the integrity? So we check the integrity right from the basic level. So what happens is, first of all, we do not create every school or every university or every private test center a SAT test center. We have specific schools that apply to us, and that's called as the College Board Code. So if you ever apply to the Common App application, you are asked a seed code, CEEB code. So that's what College Board provides to every school who's applying to us. So any school that applies to us for a seed code, we do our due diligence. So it's right from the infrastructure, right from whether they actually exist or not. So we do our due diligence, and that's how the seed code is provided. And then there are levels to it. So once the school gets a level 2 code, they can be eligible for becoming a SAT test center. So the due diligence is from that side itself. We also do not provide or give SAT test center to any test prep, because that's a conflict of interest. Then we do not want to get into that. We want to be very ethical, and we want the students to be very ethical too.
That's amazing. There are a lot of students who are just taking SAT serious. Do you think SAT is overestimated or underestimated?
I would say SAT is neither overestimated nor underestimated. It's absolutely at the right place, because SAT is being taken by students either for admissions or scholarships. Now, in your own country, in Uzbekistan, there are universities that are accepting the SAT scores also now for scholarships. So any student who has done a lot of hard work for taking an international exam should get the due benefit for it as well. And that's what we are trying to tell the universities, to do their part in serving the community and giving them the scholarships.
When you are making conversation with the students like us, what do you think? What we're missing? What kind of parts of the SAT we're missing? And as you said, we shouldn't focus on the English or the writing parts. But what really matters in order to take SAT, kind of focus, discipline, motivation, or
I think
background?
practice matters a lot. And once a student has a deadline, knows which administration they want to take the SAT in, I think a regular practice would really make that difference. So like you said, you use the right words: focus, dedication, all that form part of the practice.
Practice, okay. SAT is basically based on an American system, right? So based on that, there are different category of the countries which are preparing their students to study abroad, like especially in the United States. Do you think that's a fair competition in SAT to put? I mean, American educational system in mathematics, especially if you compare to the Uzbekistans or Indians, is a bit lower. Do you think that's a fair game to challenge them in their different, areas?
Okay. So it did start from the US, but it went on to different countries. Now, why is SAT required is a simple question. So if you're studying in Uzbekistan, I come from India, if somebody is in, let's say, Kazakhstan or China or Hungary or anywhere, but they're applying to, let's say, Amity University here. Okay, so there has to be a common measure point by a university admission officer to measure different people, different students coming from different areas or regions. So every country has a different curricula. Every country has a different standard, a grading system. How would an admission officer of a university know, okay, a 90 percentile in India is equal to a 90 percentile in China or Africa or Hungary? So SAT becomes like, and that's the reason it's called as a standardized test. It becomes a standardized measurement tool that a university admission officer says that, okay, besides everything else in the profile, this is something that I can measure across all the students in many parts of the world. And that's where SAT comes into picture, basically.
When I applied to the American universities, most of the time the SAT scores were optional, and I think I have a question: how important it is for admission to the universities?
Yeah. So what happened was this term optional or blind has been coined during the COVID time. So before COVID, there was nothing called as optional. They were all just accepting the SATs. But in COVID, because the applications declined, so, the universities said that we are test blind. Some of them said they are test blind, which means Even if you put an SAT score on the application, they will not see it. When they say they are test optional, they are not saying that we will not accept the SAT score. They are saying it's an option for you. So if you as a student think your SAT score is very good, you should always put it up, because that will give you a benefit and an edge over the others. If your SAT score is not too good and your GPA, otherwise the school grades are good enough, then you do not need to put it. So it's an option. And you know, as you have to understand where to put it or where not to put it.
Okay, let's move from educational part to the personal part. As a person, as a top manager from the top company, and you are as well female, and what kind of advices would you give to the young girls, or just to encourage them to be, to pursue such a kind of top status as you are right now?
Okay, so as a lady, I would say the girls should not be shy to come front and to pick on the opportunities that they get in life, because that's what I've learned during the entire career of mine, that when you see an opportunity, talk about it, go and ask for it. The other thing that you will listen to is a no, but that will at least be better than not having anything. You might get a yes as well. So always looking for opportunities and take them up. And that, like they say that, if you get to sit in a rocket, then do that and learn how to operate it later. So always take on opportunities is what my goal has been. But that also means that have a balance in life, because as a lady, and a balance comes naturally to you. You need to balance your home, your children, your married front, your personal life, your official life. So balance in life has to be there, and that a lady has to look at, because if you're too career oriented, then sometimes your family lags, but a balance always helps.
And what do you think, how culture affects to that? Because even most the Asian countries, even in Uzbekistan, the culture is usually against women to work. They think like men, as a stereotype, they should work and they should provide family.
You're very
What
right.
do you think about it?
You're very right. Culture does have an effect in that, and same as in our country as well. The culture does an effect, but where a lady is determined, she can still voice her opinion out and say that no, I want to work, not because I think my husband is less, but only because I want to have my own financial, independence, and I want to serve, and I want to be an equal partner in this thing which is called as a marriage. So, but yes, you're right. Culture does affect. Some people listen to it, some people don't.
Yeah. For the last question, let's give the more philosophical one. What's the best advice and what is the worst advice that you ever received in your entire life?
Oh my God. What is the best advice and what is the worst advice I've ever received in my whole life? Okay. I don't think worst I would ever remember, because advice is something that when it works, it works. If it doesn't, I tend to forget it and I tend to move on, because every stage of your life, you keep on learning. Every step is a learning process for yourself. So even if you take an advice, if it works well, fine. If not, then it is a learning that you've done for yourself. So I will never say that anyone has ever given me a worst advice. It has always been a advice, I would say. Neither worst nor not good.
Okay. Thank you for your attendance at our Amity University podcast. And I think that you enjoyed from our questions. And
brilliant
for
questions.
For us, it was very enjoyable and we learned a lot from you. And we heard from the top managers of the college board, the prep for the SIT, everything regarding to the SIT. And we got motivation for young ladies how to pursue and stay motivated. So thank you. Today with you were Mr. Laziz John and Mr. Shomir and our top manager from college board. Thank you.
Thank you so much.